And I know people look at it as it's just clothes. Yes, but it can change your day and how you feel throughout your entire vacation. It is about you feeling comfortable and confident in what you are wearing. And that is the most important factor in our process.
Have you been dreaming of travel but not sure where to go or how to begin planning? Well, you found the right podcast.
Welcome to Theme Parks and Passports, the travel podcast for every family ready to explore the world, one destination at a time. I'm Melissa Sanchez, travel addict, wife, and mom of 2 big kids. Along with planning all my family adventures, I've been helping others realize their travel dreams through my company, Spellbound Vacations, since 2010.
And I'm Heidi Mackey, a travel enthusiast with a passion for geek and pulp culture. I'm also a wife and a mom of a spicy tween. Since 2017, I've been creating vacation memories for families through my business, House of Mackey Travel. Join us as we share stories, tips, and talk to those in the know to inspire your family's next great adventure.
Because creating family travel memories can happen in any stage of life.
Hi, and welcome to Theme Parks and Passports. I'm Heidi Mackey with House of Mackey Travel.
And I'm Melissa Sanchez with Spellbound Vacations. On this week's episode, we are joined by Ashlie Henderson and Lauren Hosley, founders of Once Upon a Wardrobe. Once Upon a Wardrobe is a personalized styling service that helps Disney, Universal, and beyond travelers bring a little extra to their vacation with their outfit planning. From theme park looks and character-inspired outfits to cruise wardrobes, they make getting dressed for your vacation part of the adventure. Today, we're talking about how their business came to be, their best tips for planning the perfect park wardrobe, and why what you wear can become a part of the magic of your vacation. Welcome, ladies.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. Now, for our listeners who haven't met you yet, can you tell us a little bit about you and how did the two of you meet?
We actually met through Lauren's husband. I won a radio contest. Lauren's husband used to be in radio. I won a contest to attend a concert, and after the concert, I walked over to introduce myself, say, thank you for letting me be here. And literally within a minute of that conversation of talking to Zach, he just looked to me and he goes, I think you would be best friends with my wife. And I was like, okie dokie. And he was right.
He was absolutely right.
We exchanged numbers and we went on a double date. My husband and I went on a double date with Lauren and Zach like a couple weeks later, and I immediately fell in love with Lauren. So,
And likewise, it really was like an instant connection. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was like finding my soul sister.
I love that. What a fun story. And just to get you to know each of you a little bit more individually, Ashlie, in your bio, you've said you grew up exploring the castle. The magic never left your life. What's your earliest Disney memory that still shapes how you dress at the parks today?
So I was extremely privileged growing up because my uncle lived in West Palm for a good chunk of my childhood. So we were able to visit the parks quite a bit from when I was 6 to 10. But that really didn't shape how I dress. That happened on a trip with Lauren and our husbands. We decided to go to Disney. My husband and I decided to tag along. We often invite ourselves to events with Lauren and Zach. So I hadn't been since I was a kid. I mean, it had been since like middle school or high school since I had been to Disney. And this was like in 2018, 19, definitely before the shutdown. So we went and I was having the time of my life. And I kid you not, I was wearing an Hakuna Matata, the like infamous red Target Hakuna Matata t-shirt that you see every dad wearing at Disney. And I had kind of just like wanted to theme it to each park. I just thought that might be fun. And I also had no intention of like interacting with characters. And we were walking through Animal Kingdom and Timon was out. And I was like, oh, like, he's here. Like, why not just like say hello to Timon? And he loved my shirt and made a big deal about my shirt and then what my husband was wearing. And it made that character interaction like so special and memorable that that kind of shaped how I planned outfits for the rest of my trips to Disney because I thought, what a special, fun memory that that created. And so that kind of launched my whole planning of theming to a theme park just because of that moment.
I have to say too, something I've like really loved and admired with Ashlie is like now that is something that is like so important to her with every client to really give them that same experience. I mean, it's everybody, right? All ages, but like with the little one, she wants to make sure because that's also not just the experience for the child, but also for the parents to get to like have that with them as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's one of my favorite things is to see those interactions.
Sadly for Lauren and Zach, the rest of the trip, I had to stop and meet every character.
True.
One of my
We were
favorite
in
things to do.
Yeah, many long lines.
I was like, oh, a 45-minute wait to meet Mickey? Great. Let's jump in.
Do this.
I got time. Now, Lauren, you came from a ballet and teaching background before this. What would you say were some of the skills that you brought from there in coming into styling Once Upon a Wardrobe?
Yeah, so I think one of the direct things is it allowed me to experience how what you're wearing can help tell a story. One of the final pieces of the puzzle before being in front of a live audience is rehearsing in your costume, and the way that it really helps you fully embody the character or the idea that you're trying to express is really invaluable. And it also allowed me to play around with different silhouettes and feel how different fabrics move and all of those things. But I think both with like dancing myself and then with teaching, it made me become very detail oriented and really listen and really pay attention. And I think it also helped to create the perfectionist side of my personality to where I cannot rest until I feel like I've like given the absolute best of myself. So the way that translates into clients is then searching and probably over searching to make sure we've scoured the internet. And then for the final presentation, making sure everything is just so there. But I think also one of the biggest overarching things that I learned both from working with students and then now with clients is that the most important thing to me is just that they feel good about themselves and to help build that self-confidence and feel that joy and happiness. And that's what we want more than anything.
I love that. And so, we talked about how you guys met, your first trip to Disney. When did it hit you that, hey, maybe we could start a business? Like, maybe we can actually do that. When did that start formulating between the two of you?
Well, we didn't know what it would be yet. I had no idea what it would be yet, but I had been trying to get Ashlie to do a business with me for probably, I don't know, would you say 3 years before we finally did? But she was happy in her teaching position and the timing just wasn't right. Then the opportunity kind of presented itself.
We were actually having a picnic. We were we were from the St. Louis area. And so it was during the shutdown. It had been, kind of just, we hadn't been able to hang out and see each other. And we're coming up on the anniversary, actually, because it was in August, I remember, because it was so hot. But we wanted to be outside and have lunch together. And I just was really unsure of how I felt about moving forward, even though I loved teaching for so long. And I never imagined doing anything besides teaching. That had been my dream, my passion for so many years. And Lauren was just, when I was kind of venting about the situation, Lauren was like, well, maybe this is our opportunity to start a business that I've been asking you to do for a while. And I can't stress this enough. I am not crafty. I could not, I can't sew. There's nothing that I can do that we could sell, like a physical product that I was like, Lauren, I don't even know what we would do. And I will pay somebody to do that gladly because I know how talented and how much work it is for the craft.
Mhm.
And that's why I appreciate it in these small shops so much because it's not easy. and and so I jokingly said to Lauren on that picnic, the only thing that I'm good at is outfit planning for Disney vacations. Like, because I was doing it naturally for our vacations and for our family and whatnot. And we kind of looked at each other and it was like, ha ha ha. And then I kid you not, we called each other on the way home because we live about 30 minutes away. And I said, hey, I've been thinking about what I said about the outfit planning. Do you think that could be something? And she said, Ashlie, I was actually getting ready to call you because I do think that is a really good idea that maybe we could pursue. And that is how it started.
That's so cool. Now walk us through the early days though. Like, was it just a side hustle at first, or did you like launch it full with a full slate of services and plans on doing this full time?
There was a lot of workshopping to begin with. We definitely had the whiteboard out with with everybody, and we were trying to figure out like what could this actually look like? What would the workflow of it be? How would we present it to everyone and explain what this actually is? Because as far as we knew, there wasn't another service like that specifically dedicated to like Disney and Universal trips. So I was trying to remember. In the very beginning, I want to say we just had the mini look and the full look. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think that that's what we started out with because we didn't quite know how to navigate it. I was
Mm.
still
Mhm.
teaching full time at during the launch of it all. And so it was more for me a side hustle at that point. So it didn't become kind of a full-fledged, this is going to be kind of our career until I made a decision to leave teaching that following year, which was something I never thought I would do.
Definitely a big leap from people who've started their own, left a career and started their own businesses. Also, it's definitely, it can be scary. It's a huge step, but also very freeing. So during this time frame, what do you feel like was your biggest learning curve in those first few months? Was it figuring out like sourcing or sizing? You've got different people, different looks for clients, figuring out turnaround time, what kind of client information you're collecting. What do you think that was the hardest thing for you to kind of pull together at this point?
I would say, and it's something that I think if being honest about, it would be pricing and knowing the services that we are providing and knowing our worth and believing in that. And it's still something that I think that Lauren and I do struggle with just because Disney is an expensive vacation. And we do still try to do that, keep that in mind as we're pricing ourselves. But because we didn't have the business background yet of the effort and time that you are putting in versus what you're charging. And that was a huge learning curve and something we are still learning to this day of making sure that our time and the effort we are putting in matches what we are presenting for pricing. And so I think that's been the hardest thing to learn. And I think with client information, Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, I think one of the biggest turning points for us is how we collect the information is when we first started, we were just going off of the survey that we provided because it's pretty thorough. And then we were meeting with the client afterwards. And I think we learned about halfway through the process of we really want to meet with the client before and get to know them as much as possible before we start planning. Because even though the survey is really good, getting to talk to somebody face to face is a much better way to understand their style, their personality, what they're comfortable with. And you learn little things that you don't get to learn on a survey about. We put special interest in there because that's something that we do try and incorporate into someone's look. If there's a way to do that, whether it's reading, whether it's a certain band. And so sometimes people don't fill that out in the survey, but in our natural conversations, that gets to come out. And so I really think that was a pivotal point of changing how we do that and how we meet with the client before we present the final looks.
we can definitely, Melissa and I can agree with that. I think that we have that in common when it comes to creating an adventure, a vacation for our clients. It's definitely that one-on-one time to hear the things that aren't necessarily written. The reading between the lines piece really helps to make the vacation, the look, super special and very unique to them.
We want it to be such a personal process, and we want each client to feel like we get to know them and understand them before we start planning an outfit.
How has the business evolved from where it started to what it is today?
Gosh, I mean, it's really grown a lot
Yeah.
in that when we did first start, it was just the mini look and the full look, and now we have different bundle packages. We have our Patreon service, the blog. We didn't have the blog initially, and Ashlie pours so much time and heart into that. Our social media outlets, I think we started with Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok maybe, but I don't think we had Pinterest or YouTube or LTK or any of that as well.
I think that, navigating social media whenever you are a millennial, an older millennial, is something that was a huge learning curve as well, and how we evolved and how we get the information out and understanding what works for our audience, and just learning different ways to get ideas to people and make it accessible. And I think that's something we weren't sure how to do at the very beginning. And I think now we're a little bit more comfortable with how accessible we can be and the resources that we now have to get our ideas out there and feel like, I don't know, that maybe I don't have to do every trend and be terrified to post something, because that's just not who we are. And it took forever to get to that point of finding your own voice and just kind of letting people be okay with who you are and what your company represents, and just navigating that.
And you have grown to include Tashi on your team. What led you to bring on an additional stylist, and how do you keep, with 3 of you now, how do you keep the styles consistent across the board, so no matter who the client meets with, your brand is still represented?
I think that's what's unique about how it's more personal, rather than we are trying to put clients into a trend or into a certain style. And I think that is how we stay the most consistent, is that Tashi is also really good at listening to the client's needs and really hearing what they're looking for. Even though she brings on an incredible different type of style on her own, she thrives in Disneybounding. And weirdly enough, I was just thinking about this as it just popped into my head. I actually met Tashi at D23 in August as well. So I just feel like August is a really important month for our business.
Yes. And this episode is going to air August 1st. So
amazing.
Yes. August is your month.
I just met her at D23, and I wasn't really thinking about adding anybody on yet, because we weren't sure how to navigate how that would work. And like you said, Melissa, with making sure things stay cohesive and things like that. But I sometimes I just lay in bed, and instead of sleeping, sometimes your creative brain that's when it's most effective and up. And I thought about her and meeting her and how wonderful of a human she was. And I just asked when I was like, hey, I met this wonderful human at D23. She is an amazing Disney bounder. What are your thoughts on bringing somebody else in to diversify how we style, but still keep it streamlined based on what the client wants? But she can reach a different audience of people who specifically are looking for Disney bounding, because that's what she is just so wonderful at doing and she specializes in. And so it's nice to have that perspective on our team.
So let's break down what you offer. I believe there's the full look, happily ever after bundle, and there's virtual styling sessions that people can sign up for too. Can you give us a little info about all those pieces?
Yes. So each of those services offer something a little bit different. For the full look, it's a full head to toe outfit where we are searching and sourcing everything from hair accessories to jewelry to bags, shoes, your clothing, really anything and everything under the sun. And it's all within your personal style and preferences. We're making sure to really get to know that so that we're making it feel like you. For the mini look, that is selecting the 4 specific items that you want us to search for and whatever you feel is going to help bring your outfit together the most. For a lot of people, it's like a top, hair accessory, bag, and a necklace or anything like that. And then the happily ever after bundle is comprised of 1 full look and 3 mini looks. We also have the perfect pair, which is 1 full look and 1 mini look. And then for the virtual styling session, that's different, where we actually are meeting with a person live one-on-one and within the span of an hour, helping to pull together what we say is usually up to 5 outfits for their trip, utilizing what they already have in their closet. And maybe there's a few extra items that we can search for during the time of the call to help bring it all together even more. And for all of those, while Disney and Universal are our main focus, we also can do other trips and events. And that's something that we've been really fortunate to get to do along the way as well.
Yes, and we'll a little bit later on, we'll talk about how we work together with our virtual session, which was a non-theme park trip. But what is a typical timeline that guests should plan for their trip? So if they want to work with you, how far in advance should they reach out to you so that you have enough time, 1, to put their styles together, and 2, they have enough time to acquire any of the pieces or additional accessories you may suggest for them to get?
Our standard recommendation is reaching out to us about 2 to 3 months prior to their trip. We have people that do more in advance. We have people that it's a tighter turnaround time, but we just recommend if it is going to be, especially if it's a month or less, to reach out to us first to make sure it's something that we can actually accommodate, because the most important thing to us is that you are getting the full experience and the best of us. And we want to make sure that is all possible with, like you said, taking into consideration things like shipping times and will it actually arrive? And do you have time then if it arrives and maybe the sizing is a little different than what you expected, to then switch that out?
As somebody who has been there waiting and praying that the package that you have purchased at the last second with rush shipping arrived, we could not stress that more. Of we've been there and we don't want you to be there. We don't want you waiting and just hoping that your package, that your ears or whatever it might be, arrives on time.
I live in the Poconos, and next day shipping actually means 3 days. I totally understand. But for someone who's never used a styling service before, can you walk me through what the process actually looks like, from how do we reach out to you to how do we get the final look in hand, get these pieces?
So depending on your needs, it could be very different. So with the virtual styling session, you book a time that we can meet one-on-one, and then Lauren still sends out a survey. That way we kind of know what your needs are for the trip and what you might be specifically looking for. So we have a little bit of background before we meet. So we are very conscious of your time and making sure that we can zero in on what the plan is. And for something for the full look or the custom styling service, you still book a time with us. And I know for my introverts, that might feel very stressful, and I totally understand. I promise you, we try to make it as painless as possible. It's just a pre-meeting, like we've kind of said, but I know that there are people who probably get a little bit nervous because you're meeting with a stranger. And if you're one that doesn't even like to call a restaurant to make reservations, it's a lot. We tried to keep it short and sweet in that initial meeting. So that way we are, again, conscious of your time, but it really just has been the best process to try and get to know your style the best. You also still get the style survey, which is very thorough and asks a lot of questions about your trip, your sizing. Sizing is very important to us because we want to make sure whatever we're recommending for you is available in your size. We don't want to put a plan together of something that is not going to fit your needs. And so the style survey covers all of that. And after we meet, it takes us about 10 to 15 business days. And then after that, we email your looks along with a loom. So that way I can tell you if there's something that is, if it's out of stock and low, here are some backup options. If the colors look off on the screen, we think really that they're going to go well together. Shipping time. So I put all of that together on a loom when we deliver your final looks together.
And for those who are listening who might not know what Loom is a video. You're putting together like an instructional video to go through the styles and go through all the points that you just made.
Yes.
So then, other than the one-on-one sessions with people and the virtual styling, what other services do you offer? I do understand that you have a Patreon service.
Yeah, Patreon is kind of nice because I think it's great if you are within the travel business and maybe you are heading to Disney or Universal multiple times a year and you're looking for some quick outfit ideas that are pretty unique. So we do once a month, we drop an outfit based on a theme that is Disney or Universal. These are exclusive to Patreon. These do not show up on our blog. These do not show up on our Instagram. We want these to feel very special and unique, but they aren't necessarily customized to our Patreon members. Now, we've been very fortunate to become close with some of our Patreon members. And so sometimes that might lead into a theme idea, but that's not necessarily what that's for. These are just kind of nice because you don't have to scour through the blog. They're just right here for you to utilize. And it's nice if you are traveling to those places, if you're an annual pass holder, if you're a DVC member, it's nice because those are already done for you and you don't really have to think too much about it. And then within that Patreon tier, something that I think might have been inspired through teaching because I have loved fashion my whole life. And so we do have another tier within that called Everyday Magic, where we are styling outfits that are more everyday wear, workwear, weekend errands. That is also once a month. And then we'll add in some subtle hints of Disney or Universal through accessories, if that's something that you enjoy doing. But we also do a lot of just everyday. You can rewear this multiple times throughout the season. And then also within Patreon, it's kind of nice because we do monthly chats. They aren't necessarily styling sessions, but we meet once a month with members and we talk all things Disney cruises. And it's become a fun monthly chat of the gals. So,
oh, I love that. And I just want to clarify that your Patreon is a subscription service. So there is a fee to participate, so to speak, in your Patreon service.
So yes, it is a monthly subscription and there's multiple tier levels that you can choose from based on your budget and your needs. And you can opt out anytime that you want. And Patreon is really good about reminding you, hey, this is getting ready to renew. Is this something you still want to stick with? Which is another reason why we like it so much, is because it's not a gotcha sort of situation. It is based off of your needs. And is this serving you? Are you not traveling this month or this year or whatever that might be? That's what's really nice about Patreon.
I'm sure it encourages members to really participate too. So it's not like you have a bunch of numbers or people who may have access. You really have a community that interacts with each other.
Yes.
So now that we know a little bit about the services that you guys offer and where people can find you in your subscription service on Patreon, where are you pulling your inspiration from when you're building a theme look? Is it character driven? Is it theme park driven? Resort? Are you looking at trends? Are you looking at what time of year it is? I feel like there's so many things. What is it that inspires you?
When it comes to client styling, it's heavily based on what the client's needs are and what they're searching for and what their trip looks like. That guides it a lot too. And within our one-on-one conversation, if we are seeing that they just really love a certain character and that's just their favorite and they can't wait to see that character. It'll be more character driven. If it's a little bit more theme park, we've also done looks based off of rides after conversation if a client really likes a ride. But as far as I would say, general styling of blogs and to know it, that is more driven by what we love. And that's kind of what we like about the blogs is that what it's our kind of corner to style things that maybe we would wear. And you might see our style shine through more in the blog or like to know it. If I do a trip at the Riviera, that inspired a blog because I loved staying there and being there. And so we kind of pull from, I think, our own experiences and our trips.
Right. And then for instance, for our Patreon, that we really do take into consideration upcoming festivals or movie releases like Toy Story 5 coming out. That definitely served as an inspiration for the month prior to that. So any upcoming events definitely do inform or holidays even,
Yeah.
how we kind of proceed with the looks for each month.
Now, actually, that's a great segue into my question because how do you walk that line of full character look and themed? I know a lot of these parks also have costuming rules and regulations, but like, how do you walk that line where you still feel like a guest and you're not fully costumed?
We truly also are rule followers and whatever Disney is allowing, that is what I think guides us. And I think that again, style is just so personal and fashion is so personal. And we have had clients that say, hey, I really just want accessories, subtle accessories. I do not want a graphic t-shirt. I want something that I can wear over and over again. And there are people who we've styled that say, give me the full, I want to look like whatever we are theming it to, I'm all in. And I think that with Disneybounding, that's nice because if you want to be more of the character, that gives you a little bit more creative wiggle room of how you're styling and theming for a look. And with Disneybounding, and that's where you're using pieces that you can maybe find in your closets and just putting them together in a new way. And Leslie Kay is somebody who we saw first doing this as a collective style piece. And whether you're wearing it to the parks or not, it's still representing dressing like a certain character without being in full costume. So it really opened the door for more creative ways to wear a character or a ride or just something very unique to the parks.
So let's talk about the project that we did together. We did a virtual styling from my own closet, and it was not theme park related. I was heading to the south of France. I had scheduled a photo shoot for myself, and it was literally just for myself, just me. And we shopped my closet to put together a specific look and potentially an alternative to that look for this trip. How do you want to talk about a little bit about how we did this?
So for that, since it is a virtual styling session, we started out with you filled out a brief survey, and that kind of gave us some initial details to go into the meeting with, so we can could prepare. And then we immediately started doing research on the area so that we could make sure we're bringing in the culture and the colors and all the different theming and have that in mind as we were getting ready to meet with you. And then during the course of that hour, started to assemble different components into a full outfit. But what we recommend and what you did so wonderfully was to lay out all of the pieces that you were thinking of using or anything that you think could be a part of this final look that we're putting together. And then that way we can easily ask you, can you put this next to this? Can you hold this up and see how this would look together? And it just makes it all flow so nicely and use the time really efficiently.
Yeah, and right around that time frame, I did a whole sort of background post and a little video of all the clothing that I had literally covered, like my whole office area. Everything you can see behind me now was covered in clothes. My desk was covered in clothes. Like we had, I felt like I had put out more choices than we actually needed, but we chose a few different outfits, which was great. I had so much fun. We were talking about things, and I was like holding things up to the camera, and we were putting things together. And once that was all said and done, you guys went off and did your thing. I cleaned up my office. You got to work in the background, and then you sent me the file with the outfits, with the accessories. And one of the things I really loved about your suggested accessories and things that I could purchase that could go along with the outfits was the links where I could literally click on the hat and it went to where I could find it online. And whether it was something like an Amazon or a Kate Spade or whatever the link might have been, it was so easy for me. But I can also see why you need to plan this. Now, I did this in a somewhat shorter period of time. We really only had the 4-week time period. So it was a time crunch for us. But in the end, I ended up sort of changing things up with what we originally chose.
When you told us that, that really is what we strive for. Is we are not trying to tell our clients that you have to follow a trend or you have to do this or you have to do that. It is about you feeling comfortable and confident in what you are wearing. And that is the most important factor in our process of we never want somebody to feel like they are not going to love what they're wearing. And I know people look at it as it's just clothes. Yes, but it can change your day and how you feel throughout your entire vacation. So it's really important for us that you feel comfortable and confident, and that's our goal, is to just maybe give you some ideas, some pieces. And a lot of the times when we're in those sessions, we'll tell our clients, you already have this, you've got this. You do have a great variety of options here. I think just having someone help you put those last pieces together. And Melissa, I remember you referencing you bought this dress. We were going to do the dress. And then you did a great thing, which I think is you tested the outfit because you'd never worn that dress before that you already owned. And you didn't feel confident. And so you switched it, which is the best thing that you could have done because you don't want to go to France and pay all this money for a photo shoot and then hate the photo.
And that's exactly it. It was this blue dress. It was like this little eyelet dress. I thought it was fabulous on the rack. And so I bought it. And that was our main outfit that we chose with a few accessories to go with it. And then I wore it to my daughter's graduation. Oh my God, I hated it. I hated the way I looked in it. I hated it didn't fit right in places, which is weird because I tried it on. But yeah, sometimes you try things on and you're like, it looks so great in the dressing room. And then you wear it in real life and you're like, holy moly, this is horrible. And that's essentially what it was. I didn't even bring that dress with me. It's like, I've never put it on again. It's literally sitting in my closet. It's probably going to go to the donation bin because I truly do not like that dress. But what I did though was I took some of the suggestions that you had made, the shoes, the scarf, a hat, and I combined that with the outfit that I ended up wearing for the photo shoot. So it was wonderful to be able to think about what we talked about, look back on the other options that I had in the file that you sent me and say, okay, this doesn't work, but this could. And I thought that was a really nice thing about having that file and the extra suggestions because I had something to refer back to instead of just, okay, let me go look at my photos and that Instagram post and what else did I have out there? No, you had put it all nicely together for me in different outfits with different suggestions. And it made it so easy for me to pivot when I was packing and make that change for the photo shoot.
Whenever you're getting a one-on-one custom service, we actually take whatever theme that we're doing for the day and we give 2 options for that reason because Lauren and I really enjoy a backup option. And
Mhm.
whenever you get your PDF that is fully linked, everything is fully linked, and you just click on the item and you can add it to cart. And within that PDF, you're getting a couple different hair accessory options. And we tried to make it
Mhm.
cohesive to where if you're like, well, I like this shirt, but I really like this set of ears with it. And so we tried to make it where you can mix and match, and then you're still choosing your own adventure. You have choices now. You can clearly see everything laid out, how colors work together, how things are going to work together. And then you're still making that choice of, oh, this looks really good, but I actually think this set of earrings will work better. And so that is the process of, I'm glad that you were able to do that because that's what makes our hearts happy.
Now, Melissa, do you have any behind the scenes details from your shoot you want to share?
So, a funny thing about this shoot is that I was in Old Town Antibes, and I actually had specifically said in my intake form with the photography company that he didn't want all these pictures by the water. Like I truly wanted that old town, the flowers and the cobblestone street feel. And in the end, the photographer was like, "You know what? I really think we should take these pictures." And the outfit that we had put together, the accessories with the hat and the scarf, it looked so nice with that water background. So sometimes, even when you have an idea in your head of like exact, and we still did the cobblestone streets and all of that, but the colors, like I was in a white and a yellow and a blue, and in my opinion, the photos looked great afterwards because of what we worked on together and because of the knowledge of the photographer and him being able to look at what my style was and what I was wearing and be able to put me in the proper locations to really complement the outfits. And I think that's really something that's a lot of fun is the compliment of the outfit that you're wearing. And maybe if you are Disney bounding and you're dressed as Tinkerbell and then you're meeting Tinkerbell, and that sort of compliment of the two of you together. And this south of France with the whites and the yellows and the blues and the color, and it just perfectly fit with like the ocean background. It was really a lot of fun, something I highly recommend doing. Do the styling, do the photo shoot. Don't be self-conscious about it. Just do it. It was so fun.
Lauren really did a lot of color research. She is
Mhm.
fabulous with colors. And if we have not been to a location like the south of France, which we had never traveled to that location. And so Lauren was really digging into the color schemes, the
Yeah.
buildings, and she really put together a color palette for us to go off of. So that is her specialty for sure.
Oh, you did a wonderful job, Lauren. Everything was perfect.
Well, thank you. And also, I have to say, Ashlie, when we are researching a new location, she is watching hours of YouTube videos
Mm,
as well and researching blogs and taking in as much information as she can to make sure that we are as informed as possible, especially if it's someplace that we've never been before. We want to make sure that we're, again, giving you all of the best possible options and suiting the setting and what your needs and hopes are for what the looks will be.
So we don't want you to have to give away the whole shop here, but do you have a couple of tidbits you could share with our listeners? Like, what's one styling mistake that you see guests make over and over that's super easy to avoid?
Lauren, I'm going to let you take that.
This is where I out myself. The number one I would say is not wearing what truly is going to make you feel happy and comfortable. Don't feel like you need to fit into this box or because you're going to Disney, you have to dress a certain way. Still be you, right? And still, because that's what's going to make the biggest difference at the end of the day and how much enjoyment you got out of it. Um, but from a personal outing myself standpoint, what I learned firsthand it was a trip that Ashley and I did it was the 50th anniversary, right, for Magic Kingdom. We were there, we knew we were going to be there all day. It was incredibly hot, but we wanted to look cute. And I decided that I was going to wear these brand new sneakers
mm,
that went with my outfit really well. I broken them in by wearing them maybe a week before the trip, but that was about it. And well, that, and also because it was hot, I thought that I knew I was wearing a skirt, and I thought that if I wore slip shorts or bike shorts underneath, it would just add to how uncomfortable I was going to be. And instead, it was the complete opposite.
Oh, wow.
Now preach, always wear slip shorts, and they make ones that are like really actually quite breathable and do not make things worse for you. They only make it better. I was very uncomfortable there, and also my feet were killing me by the end of the day. I was like, I had really bad blisters. I was hobbling, literally was limping along out of the park at the end of the night, and it just was not worth it. So again, knowing that you are going to be comfortable, and also to your point, Melissa, test running what you're thinking of wearing, because the number that made me think, the number of times that I have, whether it's for Disney or any other vacation, that I've packed an outfit thinking, oh, this looks really cute all together on the hanger or laid out here, but I didn't put it on first. And then I get there and I have it all assembled and I'm really not happy with it. It's happened so many times. So I think making sure to put all that together, try it on before you're actually putting it in your suitcase, and knowing that you are going to like how it looks once you get there is important too.
It just takes one wonky hem to be like the whole day, right?
Right. Exactly.
On that note, we want to thank you so much, Ashlie and Lauren, for joining us on our podcast today. But before we go, where can listeners go to book with you, to follow along, to explore what you have to offer? Where can we find you?
So the website is www.ouawardrobe.com.
And how about on socials?
Same handle. That is where so it's kind of nice because it's all the same, except our like to know it is a little bit more tricky. It is Once Upon a Wardrobe with the underscore spaces. It's the same handle for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube is Once Upon a Wardrobe, and they're all connected within our website. They're in the top right-hand corner if you do want to follow us on social media, and Facebook as well. It is all right there. And Pinterest, if you're looking for inspiration, we post our Like to Know It on there as well. The Like to Know It is really an extension of our blog. If you just are more of, you're not interested in reading my long posts, because sometimes I just really like to write and I get going, and it's just, if you would rather just have the outfit option, that is where you can find just the outfit option.
Now, where do they find your Patreon?
Yes. So for our Patreon, you can find that through our website. It's linked, but it's also under outfit subscriptions on there.
So each episode, when we have guests, we'd like to ask a would you rather question. Don't worry, we answer it too. But as the professionals, would you rather style an outfit for yourself from your closet or start from scratch?
I can say closet. I know what Lauren's is going to be. I'm going to say closet because whenever I was teaching, I love thrifting. And so to me, it's fun to put pieces together in a different way. And I really love doing that. And so that's my answer.
And I would say from scratch. One of the best and worst things about what we have chosen to do for a business is being inundated with all of these new items that we keep finding. And so there's always something like, oh gosh, I really want this. And of course you can't buy everything, but I just love finding that new, like really pretty pair of ears or a fun new bag or whatever it is. So I would say start from scratch.
Then I get to shop Lauren's closet as well.
That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
It's like the combo of both. It's from scratch, but not buying.
Well, you know what's funny is I actually was just going to say that. So I've been in the middle, I feel like, because the outfits that we looked at, as we discussed with the blue dress, were things that I had purchased. So I hadn't worn a lot of them yet. And then Lauren and Ashlie styled from scratch, quote unquote, my brand new clothing from my closet. So that was kind of a fun combo to go purchase my style is, but have them put everything together for me. So they were looking at it from scratch, but I was looking at it from my closet. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I love that.
How about you, Heidi?
I like to have a little combo of both. I think that it's nice to have, especially depending on where it is that you're going, having the pieces that you know that are tried and true and that you're already comfortable in, but then adding those fun pieces to like take it deeper. So I'm a big fan of a combo of both. Start with maybe the basics from my closet and then give me the cool accessories or add-ons.
Awesome. Thank you again, Lauren and Ashlie, for joining us in this episode. We hope everyone enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow along. And thanks for joining us on Theme Parks and Passports.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you. This has been wonderful.
Social media, along with all the links, will be in our show notes for this. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit subscribe on Spotify or your favorite podcast player. And while you're there, feel free to leave us a rating and review.
Check out the show notes for links to Spellbound Vacations LLC and House of Mackie Travel. Until next time, keep living your best travel life.